Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually stopped and thought, not worried, not overanalyzed, not spiraled into self-doubt, but truly, consciously, deliberately thought? Most people don't. They survive on autopilot. They're told what to wear, what to believe, what success looks like, and even how to feel. Their thoughts are not their own. They're hand-me-downs from the media, society, past wounds and other people's opinions. And then they wonder why their life feels like a mess. Let me be blunt. If your thinking is broken, your life will be broken. You can have $1 million opportunity and still sabotage it. You can have love in your hands and still lose it. You can wake up every day breathing but never really feel alive. So today, I'm not here to give you hype or hollow motivation. I'm here to give you something dangerous clarity. I'm going to teach you how to think in a way that cuts through confusion, smashes fear, and builds the kind of mindset that doesn't just cope with life, but conquers it. Because once you learn how to think correctly, everything changes. Most people believe they're thinking, but in reality, they're just reacting. They wake up, check their phone, see a message or a post, and instantly feel something, anger, jealousy, fear, comparison, and from that feeling they act. Someone cuts them off in traffic and they rage. Someone doesn't reply fast enough and they spiral. Their day is not a result of conscious decisions, but a series of emotional knee-jerk reactions. And here's the uncomfortable truth: if you don't learn to control your thinking, you'll always be a slave to whatever happens around you. You see, real thinking is rare. Most of what people call thinking is worrying in disguise. It's looping the same fearful thoughts, replaying the same arguments, obsessing over things that can't be changed. That's not thinking, that's mental noise. True thinking is quiet, it's clear, it's focused. It's when your mind steps back from the chaos and says, wait, what's really happening here? What matters? What's the smartest move forward? But that kind of thinking doesn't just happen. It has to be trained, like a muscle. And just like any muscle, if you don't use it the right way, it gets weak, it gets lazy, it stops working for you and starts working against you. Now imagine walking into a storm wind howling, dust blinding your vision, people screaming all around. That's how life feels sometimes. But thinking correctly is like having a calm voice in your ear saying, step left, now forward, stop, wait, go. It's inner guidance in the middle of external chaos. When everyone else is reacting, you're responding. When others panic, you pause. When others rush, you calculate. That calm, that clarity, it's not something you're born with, it's something you learn. We live in a world that rewards speed over accuracy, fast responses, instant messages, quick decisions, but when your mind is always rushing, it misses the truth. It settles for the obvious answer, not the right one. Thinking correctly means slowing down when it matters. It means asking better questions before giving quick answers. It means examining your thoughts instead of obeying them. Why do I feel this way? Is this really true? What if I looked at this differently? Those kinds of questions can save your relationships, your peace, even your future. When you master the ability to think instead of react, you stop being predictable. And that's powerful. People can't manipulate you, situations don't control you, you become dangerous in the best way. Why? Because you don't fall for the bait, you don't chase every emotion, you don't get pulled into drama, you stay centered, you act with purpose, not pressure. And here's something most people never realize. Thinking correctly doesn't make you cold, it makes you precise. You still feel, you still care, but your emotions don't drive the car, they sit in the passenger seat. Your logic, your vision, your awareness, they take the wheel. That's when life gets interesting. That's when you start making decisions that align with your goals, not just your mood. That's when you look back and say, I didn't just survive, I shaped my life, I directed my mind, I moved with intention. Most people live their whole lives playing mental ping pong, bouncing from one thought to another, never knowing they could choose which thoughts to entertain and which to ignore. But you, after this, you'll be different. You'll learn that correct thinking is not about being smarter than others, it's about being more conscious than you were yesterday. It's about rising above the noise and listening to your own inner wisdom. Because once you do that, you don't just change your day, you change your destiny. Your brain is the most powerful tool you have, but for most people, it becomes a dumpster. Every day, they consume endless opinions, negativity, fear and noise and let it sit in their mind like it's home. They scroll through social media, absorb people's projections, carry their childhood wounds and allow the worst voices to live rent-free in their heads. They don't even question it. They treat every thought as if it deserves to stay. But let me tell you something, just because a thought enters your mind doesn't mean it belongs there. Correct thinking begins with filtration. Imagine walking through a garden with a basket. You don't pick up weeds and thorns, right? You choose the flowers, you pick the fruit, you select what you want to carry. That's how your mind should work. Every thought, every belief, every emotion you must examine it. Ask, is this useful? Is this true? Does this serve me? If the answer is no, throw it out. Thinking correctly is not about having more thoughts, it's about choosing the right ones. It's about training your brain to stop being a sponge and start being a filter. You have to become ruthless about what you allow into your mental space. Because here's the truth, every thought you entertain becomes a blueprint. Think low, act low, think strong, act strong. Your thoughts shape your actions, your energy, your decisions. And the scariest part, you can be operating on thoughts you didn't even choose, thoughts planted by other people, by trauma, by culture, by fear. That's why people feel lost. That's why they sabotage themselves. That's why they hesitate when opportunities come. Because their thinking is being controlled by garbage they never cleaned out. And look, no one teaches us this. No school says, hey, your brain needs boundaries. No one says, question what you believe before you become it. Instead, we are fed everything news that makes us afraid, stories that make us feel unworthy, and a constant comparison to people who don't even know us. And we wonder why we feel anxious, confused, exhausted. It's not always life that's hard, it's your thoughts making it harder. Thinking correctly means reclaiming control. It means learning to talk to your mind instead of letting it talk you down. When a thought says, you can't do this, you ask, who told me that? Is that based on fact or fear? When a thought says, you're not good enough, you counter it with truth, your progress, your strength, your past victories. This isn't about blind positivity, it's about powerful clarity. It's about knowing what thoughts to feed and what thoughts to starve. Correct thinking is also about silence. Not everything deserves a mental debate. Some thoughts should be ignored completely. You don't owe every emotion your attention. You don't have to chase every story your brain creates. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say to a thought is nothing. Just breathe, detach, move forward. Once you start filtering your thoughts, everything changes. Your decisions get clearer, your emotions become balanced, your confidence rises not because life got easier, but because your mind got stronger. You start seeing patterns, you stop making the same mistakes. You think before you speak, reflect before you act, and pause before you react. That's what real power looks like, not reacting to life like a puppet, but responding to life like a creator. And let me tell you, when you develop that kind of mindset, people notice. You carry a different energy, you walk into rooms with intention, you speak with weight, you listen with awareness. You don't just exist, you lead. Not because you have all the answers, but because you finally have the ability to ask the right questions. Most people are chasing a dream with a mind they've never trained. They want success, love, peace, but they haven't learned how to think in a way that attracts any of it. They jump from one trend to another, copy what others are doing, and wonder why nothing feels right. Why nothing works? Why they're always starting over? It's because they're using a broken compass. They've never been taught how to trust their own mind, how to think with clarity, purpose and direction. And here's the truth, if you don't learn how to think correctly, you will always doubt yourself, even when you're on the right path. Thinking correctly isn't about having all the answers, it's about knowing how to navigate your way through uncertainty without losing yourself. It's not overthinking, it's not second-guessing, it's the opposite. It's learning to hear your own voice through all the noise. And that's rare. Most people are so used to outsourcing their decisions, they wait for someone to tell them what to do. They follow the crowd because it feels safer. They silence their instincts because they've never learned to trust them. But the more you ignore your inner guidance, the more disconnected you become from your own truth. And it's not their fault entirely. Society teaches conformity, not clarity. From a young age, you're rewarded for fitting in, not thinking independently. You're told to follow the rules, color inside the lines, do what's expected. But thinking correctly often means breaking those rules, not recklessly, but intelligently. It means questioning what you've been taught, it means unlearning the lies that have shaped your decisions, it means stopping to ask, wait, is this really what I want? Or is this what I've been told to want? There's a dangerous myth that thinking deeply will make life harder, but the truth is, not thinking is what makes life chaotic. When you think correctly, you become strategic. You move with intention. You stop rushing decisions just to feel busy. You stop saying yes just to please people. You stop reacting out of fear and start responding with purpose. That's when your life starts to align. That's when peace becomes your default, not anxiety. That's when progress feels natural, not forced. And let's be real correct, thinking is a skill, one that no school teaches, one that most people never even realize they need. But once you start learning it, it feels like waking up. Suddenly, you see things you never saw before. You catch the lies you used to believe. You stop being manipulated by your past. You stop being controlled by every new shiny thing the world throws at you. You gain this quiet confidence and not arrogance, but certainty. A calm in your chest that says, I don't need to follow the crowd, I've got my own map. Thinking correctly also means protecting your focus. You can't allow every distraction into your day. You can't let every voice into your mind. You become selective. You don't chase every opportunity. You look for alignment. You don't run after attention. You build value. You don't need to win every argument. You choose peace over ego. That's the power of a trained mind. It doesn't move just because something's loud. It moves when it's right. And when you reach that level, something incredible happens. Life stops feeling like a mess of problems. It starts feeling like a game you know how to play. You're not overwhelmed, you're organized. You're not guessing, you're guiding, you're not trying to impress anyone, you're trying to become someone. Thinking correctly gives you that edge, the invisible force that separates those who drift from those who lead, those who settle from those who rise, those who react from those who build. So now, let me speak directly to the version of you that's been quiet for too long, the one hidden beneath all the noise, all the pressure, all the pretending. You don't need more information. You don't need more opinions. You need ownership. You need to take your mind back. Because the truth is, your life is not defined by your circumstances, it's defined by how you think about your circumstances. That's where your power lives. And if you can shift your thinking even just a little, you shift your entire direction. Let me say that again, change your thoughts and you will change your future. You have no idea how powerful your mind truly is, but I do. I see it, I feel it, I know it's there, waiting, not weak, not broken, just untrained. And today, that changes. From this moment forward, you are no longer a prisoner to your past thoughts. You are the architect of new ones, stronger ones, sharper ones, thoughts that fuel you, not thoughts that drain you, not thoughts that paralyze you, thoughts that activate you. And yes, it will take work. Yes, it will take intention. No, you can't just snap your fingers and become a master thinker. But every time you pause before reacting, every time you filter before accepting, every time you question before believing, you get stronger, you get clearer, you get closer to the life that's calling you. Don't be the person who spends their whole life running in circles because they never pause to question the pattern. Don't be the one who waits for the world to calm down before they decide to rise up. That moment, that perfect peace, that full confidence, it doesn't come to you, you create it. You create it by thinking like a leader, even when no one's following you yet. You create it by thinking like a warrior, even when the battle is inside your own mind. You create it by thinking like someone who refuses to settle for average thoughts, average choices and an average life. Let them call you intense. Let them call you obsessed. Let them call you different. Because correct thinking doesn't make you normal. It makes you dangerous. It makes you unstoppable. It makes you the one who walks into chaos and still finds clarity. It makes you the one who doesn't need permission to believe in themselves. And if your mind tries to pull you back, and it will, it's okay. That's just the echo of the old you. The one who used to overthink everything, the one who let fear make decisions, the one who followed the noise instead of their own knowing. But that version is fading. And the new one, the one who pauses, who reflects, who filters, who builds that version, is growing stronger every day. Every morning you wake up and choose clarity over confusion, you're winning. Every night you reflect and learn instead of scroll and forget, you're evolving. Every time you take a step forward with a mind that's been trained to think instead of react, you're building something extraordinary. So don't you dare underestimate what's happening right now. This is not just a motivational speech. This is a turning point. This is where you stop asking life for favors and start taking full ownership. This is where you stop chasing and start becoming. You don't need more motivation, you need more alignment. And alignment comes from thinking correctly. When your thoughts match your purpose, your words gain power. When your thoughts match your values, your actions gain speed. When your thoughts match your vision, your results become inevitable. So I ask you now, what would happen if you finally thought like the person you're meant to become? What would change if you no longer gave space to every insecure thought, every anxious voice, every self-doubt? What could you build, who could you become if you trained your mind to serve you instead of sabotage you? The answer? Anything. Absolutely anything. Because correct thinking doesn't just upgrade your life, it unlocks it. It takes the limits off. It takes the fog out. It takes the guesswork away. And it replaces all that noise with one powerful inner voice. A voice that says, I'm not here to live on repeat, I'm here to grow. I'm not here to copy others, I am here to create. I'm not here to impress anyone, I am here to express who I really am. And if that becomes your new normal, if those kind of thoughts take root, then I promise you this, you won't need a map, you'll become the compass. You won't need applause, you'll move from purpose. You won't need certainty, you'll walk with courage. Because once you've learned how to think correctly, you're not just existing anymore, you're evolving, you're rising. And the world better be ready for the unstoppable version of you that just woke up.